Objection!
Welcome to the 6 o'clock news with Tia Barnett and Yolanda Gumbo. The breaking news is just in. There is a suspected murder of JC in Jerusalem, which is sending shockwaves throughout the entire community as the horror of this story unfolds. JC is a man that was brutally beaten and executed in front of the whole nation. 3 suspects have been identified for committing this murder and are now facing trial today. But before we delve deeper into the case, there are just a few house rules to remember. Mobile phones should be switched off or put on silent with respect to the person next to you. Fire exits are located at the back of the room. Remain in your seats unless it's urgent and keep noise levels to a minimum. We'd also like to remind you that there's going to be graphic images in this play, so all you sensitives, careful. Right, going back to the case, the question you should ask yourself is, was it a murder or was it a mistake? Please stay tuned for further information as this trial continues.
All right. Introducing to the court, Honourable Judge Ramsey. You may be seated.
My lord, we're here to solve the unlawful murder of JC, aka Jesus Christ, which took place in Jerusalem on Friday the 7th of the 7th at approximately 1800 pounds. I believe this man was unlawfully murdered for religious gain because of the following he began to have, and also because for the influence that he also began to have. Oh my God, Jesus. Not only, but also for political gain, simply because the leaders at the time were more interested in controlling an uprising that they neglected the rule of law, and they allowed an innocent man to be executed. Another reason they wanted him dead was that he claimed to be the king of Jews, which isn't even a nation, but a group of people.
Objection, my lord. The prosecution is testifying. This case is a waste of time and the people's money. This so-called Jesus was a rebel, and the so-called following that he had, everyone knows that it was a cult, and he was just exploiting vulnerable people.
Sustained, councillors, please settle down. May I remind you that I decide whether this case is thrown out or not. Now, an innocent man could have been persecuted for crimes that were not his own, and I, for one, would like to find out if he was. Therefore, make no mistake, we will hear out this case.
Is the prosecution?
Is the persecution finished?
Yes, my lord.
My lord,
May proceed with their opening statement.
my lord, this man did in fact commit treason. Just because the Jews were not a group of people does not mean that they were not under the rule of the king. In fact, they were under the rule of King Tiberius.
Objection. The defense has no evidence of this.
Overruled.
My lord, if I may proceed, I would like to call the first suspect to the stand, Mr. Practise.
Proceed.
Do you promise to say the shirt on the
I promise.
So, can you proceed?
Thank you.
Pontius.
Mr. Pilot, please.
Okay then, Mr. Pilot.
Yes.
Were you there at the scene of the murder?
What murder? Killings take place all the time in this place. Can you be a bit more specific? Your question is a bit vague.
Excuse me, Mr. Pilot. We're here to try you for the murder of JC.
What? That's preposterous. Do you not know who I am? I'm Pontius Pilate, 5th prefect. I rule Judea. You cannot implicate me in any form of murder. I don't know what you're going on about.
It's okay, Mr. Pilot, you can answer her questions.
It will be for your own benefit if you cooperate.
Sure.
So you agree you were present at the scene of the murder?
Sorry. I don't know, what do I say?
Yes!
Yes. Yes.
So can you please tell us what happened on the day Christ died?
Without hesitation, yeah. He was brought to me by Caiaphas and those religious leaders with a massive, huge mob of people. They were crying out for blood. They wanted him dead. I did not know what to do other than to have him flogged with every intention of releasing him, but it was not good enough. They wanted him dead. They were crying out for blood. I even sent him to Herod. I sent him to Herod. Herod didn't want to have nothing to him. I called him over and I spoke to Christ. And he had nothing to defend himself with. I had no choice. I had to give the people what they wanted. I had to release him. I turned him over to them. I had no choice.
Mr. Pilot, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here. I know it seems irrational, you being questioned, but could you please tell us why you had Jesus flogged and what happened after that?
Oh, yeah, happily. Like I just said, the religious leaders brought him to me, accusing him of a lot of crimes that were so trivial and petty, but at the same time, they were screaming out for him to be executed. I didn't know what else to do. I turned him over to them. Even my wife told me not to have anything to do with it. In my attempt to remove myself from the situation, I had my hands washed. I washed my hands, trying to remove all stain from this heinous act. I didn't want to, but I had no choice. I had no choice. They were screaming, "Crucify him," over and over again. I had to release him to them.
My Lord, as you have heard from my client, he was an unwilling party in the death of Jesus Christ. Under Roman law, it was allowed to authorize flogging with no implications. Why is it that this Jesus Christ is so important anyway? Criminals die all the time. I've said it before and I'll say it again. This case is a waste of time and should be struck out.
Does the prosecution have any more questions?
Mr. Pilot, do any execution take place without your notice?
What do you mean by that?
Does anyone get killed without your consent?
Well, no, not really.
So you were saying this particular one happened on your watch?
Yes, but...
No further questions for the accused. Your face is so terrible. So sorry.
Sorry.
Mr. Burgess, you may take it.
The JC murder trial is in full swing. We have just witnessed Pontius Pilate lying on the stand. The trial continues to startle the nation, and with the next suspect, Caiaphas, being called to the stand, there is no telling how this trial will unfold. Caiaphas, bearing in mind, is a Jewish high priest. Right, let's go to the magistrate's court, where the trial is well underway.
My lord, having heard Mr. Pilate's testimony, I'd like to call up my second suspect, Mr. Caiaphas, the high priest.
Your Honor, I am not surprised you called us in.
Order, Mr. Caiaphas. I would advise you to take the stand without any further outbursts.
Place your hand in.
I don't know what I read. I'm a religious man. It's my religion.
Mr. Caiaphas, you were the high priest at the time of the murder, and Mr. Pilate, the governor. According to his testimony, you brought Jesus to him. Is this true?
This little Jesus, he called himself the Messiah. The Messiah, you tell me. What is the Messiah? We didn't execute him. We didn't kill him. We didn't have no time for him. He was just a waste of time.
He wasn't saying that. No, sorry.
Lost my track then.
That's why you want to see what
There you
happened.
go. Sorry. He was a thorn in our side. He freed us. He came to be Messiah, the Son of God. So are you not the daughter of God? Are you not? Because I know I'm the Son of God too. He even claimed to be the Son. He even claimed to be Jesus. Sorry. He even claimed to be God. God himself. This man was a madman.
If he was a madman, why did you pay Judas to bring him to you?
Who? Judas? Who's Judas?
Who's Judas? The man you paid on information on Jesus' whereabouts. I present to you Exhibit A.
Oh, that Judas.
No more questions.
Your noble priest, you're a man of truth, a man that knows the difference between wrong and right. Could you please tell us what happened? Or is it not true that under Roman law you cannot execute anyone?
Yes, that's true. True indeed.
My lord, as you can see, this man had no legal right to execute anyone. Just because he paid someone off does not mean he is guilty of the crime. Mr. Caiaphas, could you please tell us what happened when Jesus was brought to you?
We handed him over to the Romans. And those Romans are very brutal. Brutal, I tell you. They beat him mercilessly. Did I say that right? Mercilessly. I think I said.
If anything,
If anything, Your Honor, those Romans killed him. They're the guilty ones. Them soldiers killed him.
Does the prosecution have any more questions?
Your Honor, I have no further questions for this man. He claims to be a religious leader, yet he lies on the oath. Even the evidence illustrates that he paid the man who betrayed the deceased. However, I would like to bring a witness that support my case against this man. Your Honor, I would like to call Mary Magdalene to the stand, please.
Mr. Caiaphas, you may take your seat. Refrain from any outbursts on your way.
Mary, do you know this man?
Yes, I know this man. I know him very well.
What is your relationship with him?
Your Honor, I'm not proud of the past I used to have.
Your Honor, why you bring this clean, filthy woman to the stand?
Excuse me, Mr. Caiaphas. This is my courtroom. Any more outbursts and I will have you escorted out. You may continue.
Thank you. I'm not proud of the life I used to lead, Your Honor. I used to work on the red light districts of Jerusalem. And I'm not proud of the job I used to do, as I used to break up a lot of families. One day, Caiaphas and the other religious leaders came into my home and dragged me out onto the square of the streets of Jerusalem, where they threatened to stone me. For you see, Your Honor, under God's law, I was guilty of adultery. And I feared for my life. They all wanted me dead. And this was the day that I met the man they called Jesus.
Enough of the history. Could you please tell us about your involvement?
You see, I thought they were going to kill me. But all they wanted to do was use me as bait to discredit Jesus, because they were jealous. Jealous of the following that he was starting to gather, and of the many miracles that he had performed. They wanted to silence him, and they wanted to do everything they could to do that, but they couldn't. These men are very evil, and no one should believe anything that they say. They are the reason why Jesus was executed. But as for me, Your Honor, I'm thankful that Jesus gave me a second chance. And his words, daughter, I don't condemn you, as these men tried to condemn you. Go and sin no more. They still resonate with me till this day.
Thank you very much, Mary. Your Honor, like I said, this man can be relied upon for the truth.